Okay, so it's being reported that there is huge drama going down at ESPN between two of their biggest TV personalities in Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee. Recently, there was some controversy between the pair when Stephen A. went on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast hosted by Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, and there was a controversial clip that pitted Stephen A. and Pat McAfee against each other at ESPN. Here's what he said.
I'm interested in staying if I have the opportunity to do an abundance of other things that I want to do. If that opportunity doesn't present itself, then I'll have decisions to make, and so will they. Because the one thing I will never apologize for, I am about my money. I want to get paid. Now, is he as polished politically as me? Nope. Because he has no desire to be, number one. And number two, if we're being honest, he's white and I'm black. He didn't have to be. I had to be. So I get all of that. And I'm not knocking him for it. I get it.
So it got to the point where Smith had to address his comments on his podcast after all the media outlets ran with the storyline. And while in public, Stephen A. has professed his admiration for Pat, you gotta take a step back and look at everything from his lens. He is no longer the highest paid talent at ESPN, and if we're gonna be honest, probably has dropped a couple slots down in the organization in terms of clout. Yes, his show First Take is killing it in the ratings war with Undisputed, but that's mainly due to Shannon Sharpe. I mean, take a look at the show's numbers on the Monday and Tuesday when Shannon is there and the drop off when he's not. On top of that, Shannon's two independent shows, Nightcap and Club Shay Shay, are just killing it on social media and in terms of views on YouTube. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that Stephen A. might be losing his top spot at ESPN very soon, and with his contract talks coming around the corner, he has made it no surprise that he expects to be the highest paid earner at ESPN. Anyways, so that's a bit of the background over the past couple weeks, and now new reports have emerged that the network's two biggest stars have got into a heated exchange over creative differences. According to the New York Post, who ran the story, the two disagreed on the path of a project that Smith was working on through his own production company. It even got to the point where Stephen A. banned Pat McAfee from appearing on First Take, where Pat had weekly Tuesday appearances. Anyways, both were reached out for comments on the matter, and here's what Pat said. I have nothing but love for Stephen A. I think I'm still welcome on First Take. I was scheduled through the football season to join on Tuesdays. Hopefully next year that'll happen as well. And this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say after addressing that everything was fine between him and McAfee. He went on to say, Pat McAfee and I have no issues, and the notion that he'd be banned from First Take is BS. We are number one, and he has absolutely contributed to us remaining number one. McAfee was asked to come on each Tuesday through the Super Bowl, and he did just that, kicking ass each time he came on the air. If McAfee wants to be on First Take next season, he will be on First Take. I love winners, and McAfee has proven he wins, which helps me win. So that was the pair responding to the allegations about their little bust up, and if I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how this is all gonna end up for Stephen A. in terms of his contract renewal. I think what Shannon decides to do is gonna have a huge impact. Unk seems perfectly content right now doing 2 shows a week on First Take and his 2 other podcasts, but who knows if ESPN gives him a bigger role and makes him the face of the network. I mean, he literally took First Take to a new level on his own. He has become an even bigger cultural figure within his own community after leaving Undisputed, and I could see ESPN deciding to move on from Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. has already ventured himself out in the podcast world and has his own production company, so it's not like this would be a huge hit for him if he were not to get re-signed. Nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next little while. Anyways, what do you guys think about this little fight between Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee? Was this nothing, or could this pose to be a bigger issue down the road?